Okay, you're probably aware already that this is a Maccaferri Islander. But the real unusual part about this is it's all one color and it's kind of a pale canary color. And one thing I want to point out about this is when I bought it, it was pretty well damaged. I knew that it had had a bent neck when I bought it, but then when I got it, it had a big crack also. So I knew that I was going to have to attempt a repair. Fortunately for me, when the neck had bowed, it had bowed this way, and the fingerboard had popped off at one point in time, and so the previous owner had used what looked like kind of like model airplane glue or something to try to get it back on there. And fortunately they did not succeed very well. There were gaps. So I was able to get in there and pry the fingerboard off, as well as this faceplate that popped off, and so that gave me a flat surface from here all the way out to the end of the neck. And with that open then, and as you can tell, there's the repaired crack in the neck. But that gave me a flat surface then, so I heated up water several times in a 3-quart saucepan and got it up to near boiling point, and with it like this held into the sink, I poured that very hot water down through the neck. And when I would get that neck hot, I would lay it on top of a straight surface and gently apply force to it to straighten that neck out. And it did eventually straighten. That left the fingerboard had also bowed somewhat, so I did the same thing to the fingerboard. And with the neck, I just kind of had to guess as to how. I knew I had it flat, but I didn't know how well I had it this way comparing it to where the bridge was going to be. And like I say, I did get it all put back together, and part of what I had to do was these sides were way out past the fingerboard when I had it, and so when I glued it out, my wife helped me, and holding the fingerboard in at a couple of different places, or the neck where it was bowed in a couple of places while I held the fingerboard on, she tacked the fingerboard in place for me. After that, what I did was, in a small vise, I was able to press that neck in there and slowly close the gap as I glued it bit by bit. So I would put a little glue in there and then clamp it here, and then move it up a little glue and clamp it there and let it dry in between. Now, as you can tell, there's a gap there where it broke out at one point in time. The fingerboard is pretty nice and flat now. And the neck, you can see where the crack was from the stress. That is level now. I was able to fill it up and level it out. There's no gap there anymore. It's super glue, so it glued clear there. And now I was not able to get the action very low. As you may know, if you have Maccaferri Islanders, the action is amazingly accurate on all of them that I own that have not had repairs. This one, however, the action is a little high. I'll try to get it here for you to see. But if I had to err on something, at least I erred on it being a little bit high, because if I would have had it the other way, it would have been low and it wouldn't be playable. This, however, is playable. Has no buzzes all the way up the neck. So there's how I did the repair on this one, and like I say, fortunately I was able to wiggle everything loose and then get it re-adhesed, and you can see I got the strings hanging out here because I like to make sure that they're all set in and the knots don't pop beforehand. Matter of fact, what's unusual about this one too is the top must be have a lot of stress on it, because as you can tell, let's see if I can get it up here so you can see it. It has quite a bit of cupping in front of the bridge there, which is pretty unusual also. So I don't know if the heat that melted this neck also put stress on the neck, or perhaps the raised action has put a little more stress on it. But I'm not afraid about that breaking. The molded there's molded braces in there on that top piece, and so what we have now is a fairly well repaired canary yellow, pretty rare. I've never seen an all canary yellow Islander. It's a little out of tune. new strings. I love these Islanders.